I said, we have a WhatsApp group for my son's tank in Gaza. You have like a 4-man crew. They say they have a 5-man crew because my son's girlfriend, who basically their fiancés, he talks about her all the time. But yeah, my son is the which one? He's this one over here. He's a loader, right? There you go. Can you see it? Yeah, I put a little thing around him. So yeah, look, there's a lot good about this in general. I mean, man, look at the devastation behind them, right? Look at it. But there's a lot of good about the whole national service. Like my son is very duty orientated. So it's like, and also my older son who just got married, he's like, there's no way I could get out of fighting in this war, right? There's just no. It's a real thing, right? And so he's the same. But like I'm not sure who's who, but his a good friend of his in the tank is a super leftist, right? And they spend time together and they love each other, right? I think that really does so much good for society in general. But man, I tell you, it's getting not fun and not funny, right? It's getting not fun and not funny. Like he was in combat, he had to get out the tank to fix things. Because that's the job. His job is a loader, right? He loads. There's a gunner, there's a driver, and there is the commander, right? So his job is loader. He's pretty good at it, but they also have to fix everything as well. So it's like the engineer. So like he's under fire. He's getting out of his tank to fix. I'm like, what? And my older son, who just got promoted to I think a captain. Pull up his picture. I showed it on the last one, but I can be a proud father. Doesn't hurt. Now it's over here, wasn't it? Yeah, doink. My other son, who was also in the tank corps, right? He got out. When was it? Like about a year or so, like a couple of years ago. They begged him to stay. Oh my God, did they beg him to stay? Why is this not downloading? Come on, give me the bloody picture. I'll try it this way. We'll go save image as. We'll try that. And we'll do doink. Fine. That should have done it. That's over here. And it's still not here. What? What? Why is it not downloading? Okay, you know what? We'll do it this way. Stop screen. Share screen. It was a Chrome tab. There you go. There's my other son. There he is. So yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time." Right? So it's not like, really? Don't tell us this shit, right? Don't tell us this shit. So yeah, look, it's not fun. It's not funny. Because I shouldn't have closed that. Hang on, share screen. Because look, people are getting killed. It's like. It's not a small deal, right? It's not small. I mean, like, you expect it to happen in war, right? You expect it to happen, but like when it does, it's really heavy, which is the thing I'm going to talk to you about right now. So, at the beginning of this week, this was a fallen soldier, and I know everybody in my neighborhood knows him. He's a local guy, right? And it's like. Everywhere have like kids dying. It's but like I know this kid, I know his parents, I know the family. It's a religious community, so we're reasonably close knit. So where is it over here? So the funeral was I think Wednesday, right? Hang on 1 second. And so like it's very heavy because. Your kids are in the same situation, like Mike. And again, it's not an option that they wouldn't be there for them, right? They just not an option. But like, here. So this is my local town. As I said, this is here. I'll start over here. Right. Okay. These are the shops at the top of my bloody street. Right. Literally, these are the shops at the top of my street. And like this is at the end of my street, and everybody lined the streets with flags, but like it's surreal. It's terrible, right? It's absolutely terrible. This is the town center. If you looked on the other side, you'll see the shops. But yeah, look, literally my entire town came out. Well, not me. I didn't go to a funeral. There's also like a memorial thing called a shiva. I just can't do it. I'll just be crying, right? I'll just be crying. It's like, and watching this is too much for me, frankly. But it was packed beyond packed, and like this reverberated through my town. This is like, I don't know. Yeah, we'll look at more pictures. Yeah, one second. Yeah, that's what it. So in Israel, when you bury people, you do so without a casket, right? You bury them, basically wrap them in a shroud. It was a Jewish tradition. And that's the mother and father. Again, I know these people, right? One's a doctor, one's a school counselor, and like, I know them. They've done me favors before. I can't imagine the pain they're going through, right? I can't even imagine. Like, when I start thinking about it, it does my head in, right? It really does my head in, right? It's sound, but yeah, again, this is around the corner from me. And like, yeah, the entire town, we came out, wave flags, but man, it's like, for example, like how's this affected me, right? Affected me on a real level. I don't know what caused this, but my son's girlfriend has been in bits this week, right? It's just been absolutely in pieces. I don't know. Is it easier for my son's wife because, like, at least they got married, right? Here's the thing. I don't think. I think my kids are reasonably chaste. I don't think they. I think they will probably be virgins when they get married, which is, I think they're gonna have a better life for it. Honestly, we were sold so much bullshit, and we're always so, like, right now we're being sold the bullshit that having a penis is no obstacle to womanhood. I don't really believe it, right? I don't really believe it. But I think my generation was sold bullshit that sex outside of marriage, premarital sex, like, in more than, like, I know, when you're a kid, is going to be something that is going to make you happy. It's not. Really, that's the amazing thing. And when you stop and think about it, you go, "Oh, right, it's really not." When are they outside of marriage, outside of committed relationship? But like, the only way you really can say it's committed is with marriage, and not even that much anymore with no fault divorce. So I had an insight this week, which was this. So I've said some of this before. But I think in any thinking person who believes in God, who is religious like me, right? There's one general question, and there's one more specific question. Like, listen, if the Jews are the chosen people, why are they getting all this shit all the time, right? Well, Holocaust, pogroms, crusades, like the expulsion from country to country. Like if we're the chosen people, can we be chosen to be something like that's not constantly getting their balls kicked in, right? Would that be okay? No, that's right. So what's up with that? And then more specifically, the luck that Hamas had, right? We call it hatzlacha and bracha and blessing that they had was extreme, right? Because they were very successful in for the first 6 hours in what they wanted to do. They were very successful, right? I mean, they're being decimated now, but they were very successful. So what kind of God would do that, right? We know the sort of stuff that went down now, and it's obscene. It was worse than the Holocaust, right? And then you also got to say that people will say, oh, look, it must have been Israel wanted it to happen because their military failed, and they did completely and totally and utterly failed. 6 hours they were unopposed, and what they did in those 6 hours is the most horrendous things I can think of, right? So what's going on with that, right? What on earth is going on with that? So I think it's like this, right? I think it's I heard a rabbi talking. I got such little respect for rabbis, which you'll hear why in a minute. I heard a rabbi talking a couple of weeks ago, and he was dealing with this question, right? And he's like, it's like, I think because they pray 5 times a day to God. We believe in the same God, right? And they do so. I think that's why they had all that success. I was like, oh, so stupid. Oh, God, it's so stupid. No, Hamas weren't successful because they were so insanely righteous. No. I think they were successful. Oh, 1 second. Wait, 1 second. Wait. I'll turn the camera off. We have emergency delivery. Of hash browns. My wife decided to make hash browns. There you go. So I will, let me just break into these for you, right? Make sure they're kosher. Oh, they're so good. Oh, yeah. Jim, you cut up potatoes really, really small. Again, I don't want to spill them. There you go. And cook them with soy sauce and sugar. I don't know what she puts in them. I just know they're really good. They're really, really good, especially. Oh no, it's all caramelized. I digress. Well, so what's going on with that? So that just totally took my mind off it. Oh yeah, we got popular stuff going on, but on the upside, good hash browns. Anyway, I don't. That was really good. Anyway, so I think it's like this: the Jews have lived in exile for about coming up to 2,000 years, right? We lived in exile. So what does exile mean? Exile means that you don't have the ability to comfortably enact your will, no matter what it is, right? Because you don't have a home. You're on the move, right? You don't, and you're always living in somebody else's home, which is why we're happy we're living in Israel. But because that's what exile is. And in extreme cases of it, you don't even have the ability to act like yourself, to stop yourself being raped, murdered, or your children being beheaded or burnt to death in front of you, with their hands tied behind their back with barbed wire. I mean, I think it was an expression of the exile that we live in. We call it galus, right? Or galut, depending on the pronunciation you want to go with. So why do we live in exile? Why have we been in exile for these 2,000 years, right? And classical Judaism it's a very mainstream answer, right? Which 5 years ago, I would say, everybody knows this off the top of their heads, right? Everybody, there's no question. This isn't a central focus on anybody's head who says they're religious. And that is, we live in exile because we are mean to each other, right? Being Jew and Jew, we are mean to each other. Right, and the legal expression of that is called rechilat and lashon hara. Lashon hara is speaking badly about others, and which if you look into the literature of it, there's the problem with that is because there's no clear law about speaking badly about non-Jews in Jewish law, right? So to which I always argue, you look in the literature, it says speaking bad, this lashon hara thing. It's bad for you. It's too lowly. It's a more lowly person than you want to be, right? And the other thing is rechilat, right? Rechilat is when you talk crap about somebody else with the intention of canceling them, with the intention of what's the word I'm looking at? Not damaging, not disparaging. Well, disparaging is a word. Defaming, right? Defamation, right? Defamation. Is why that we've been cast, because we're supposed to be brothers and sisters and just live with each other and not talk crap about each other, right? So so there's where am I going? So I'm just saying which I could go in 2 different directions with this. I'm trying to decide which direction to go. So my thought I had earlier this week was this: that what is it that drove the actual Hamasniks, the people who actually did the raping and murdering, right, the beheading babies, like the torturing? What is it that drove somebody to do that? And it's easy to say, oh, they're monsters. They're inhuman. They're evil. And what they did is evil, right? Absolutely, it's evil. But it's too simplistic, right? It's genuinely too simplistic. The reason that what allowed them to do it, the same thing with the Nazi soldiers, but actually much more profound in this case than the Nazi soldiers in World War II. It's they've been brought up on a diet their entire life of the evil, bloodthirsty Jew that has attacked them and destroyed them and put them into exile and forced them out of their land and raped them. Basically, everything they did on October 7th, they thought they believe it. They believe the Jews have done that. There was I remember when first on October 7th, around there, a call came out that a guy made to his father and says, I've killed 10 Jews with my own hands. You must be so proud of me. And they were, because they've been brought up on a diet of defamation, of pure and that's how pernicious and evil this thing is, right? And so I think it seems we have an idea called Mida Keneging Mida, which is you are punished in the way that you have sinned, right? So why is it that I think that we would possibly deserve this awful punishment of October 7th for like how bad is it? How bad is it that we talk about each other? Well, my own personal experience has been disgraceful, right? It blew my mind. So started off the local rabbi of our synagogue. There was a member of the community who he was financially very, very, very close with, and also close with in other ways, whose son was accused of some kind of sexual impropriety with minors. Who he himself was a minor, right? But younger minors. Now, I think there's probably something to these allegations because we live in a small community, right? And these things float around, and he had a reputation for this. And there was, like, as I understand it, a number of families. But this rabbi very clearly wanted to protect and support his friend who had financially benefited him, right? And so the guy who was protecting or supporting, who really actually had the rabbi wrapped around his little finger because he's a smart guy. But he said, "Oh, I will not take any honors in the synagogue whatsoever while this investigation is going on," but manipulated the rabbi and the rest of the people who run the synagogue, the board of the shul, to insist that he takes honors, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, okay then," and I wasn't. I was like, "No, right, no," and so I did everything by the book completely. I sat with him for an hour and I said, well, let's look at the Jewish law of this. And he couldn't defend himself in Jewish law, right? And I think that will piss him off, quite frankly. So, and then I tried for another hour, right? And then when it wasn't going to get anywhere, I said, listen, look, I have this volunteer position that I was quite popular doing. I won't be able to do that because I'm not going to be able to, because I can't follow what you're saying here because it's wrong, because it's like you haven't been able to sell it to me, and everybody else was too scared of saying no to the rabbi, right? That's really what it was. Everybody else was like just terrified. How can you say that? Because he's fucking wrong. That's why, quite simply. So if I wasn't 100% sure he was wrong, I was shown he was 100% wrong subsequently, because I said, look, I got to quit this position. So this rabbi was also a weakling and a coward. And so he was a cry bully, much like Hamas, right? Much like Hamas. Hamas is, they did October 7th, and then they've been crying like bitches ever since. Quite frankly, all the people like saying, ceasefire now, all the Palestinian voices raised that the Israelis are doing a genocide, and all the nonsense that they spew, right? Is they're cry bullies, right? 100%. And like, if it's so freaking bad, right? If all this death and devastation, which there clearly is, because look, 1 second, like this is from the ground, right? Okay, that's what a lot of Gaza looks like now, right? It's all this death and devastation. It's really so great. It's surrender. That's what surrendering is for, right? But now, you're going to have to give up all the hostages, all the bodies. I doubt that. I doubt they're alive. All the weapons, all the guns, all the ammunition, all the bullets, and all your leaders, right? I think Israel is not going to stop until every leader of Hamas is dead. And good for them, right? I think it's the right thing to do. Anyway, so this rabbi was a crybaby, and he cried like a bitch, like an absolute banshee, and everyone was like, "Oh no, the rabbi's crying! See, you're evil! You're evil!" Right? They were just like that. I was like, but he, yeah. So I wanted to calm things down, right? And I said, look, I will apologize to the community. We'll calm things down. Yeah, well, I'll do that. Again, I had the idea that at this time I didn't know he was he was like totally twisted, right? So me apologizing really pissed him off because he just wanted to throw me. He took my money. I gave him about 3-4 grand to his salary. Never returned that. But anyway, so then he did this big speech to the community right afterwards, and he delayed my apology going out beforehand because he's a cunt, quite frankly. And by the way, if you're a religious person watching this, and you're offended at me saying cunt, but you're not offended by this disgraceful violation of Jewish law, I think your priorities might be a bit wrong. Anyway, but which is where I'm going to. So, and he lied his ass off, essentially, right? He lied his ass off about the people who were accusing his friend, and he lied his ass off about me, and he kept lying his ass off. Now this is prohibited in Jewish law, but here's the thing: nobody absolutely nobody lifted a finger, right? They were like, "Oh, he's the rabbi," right? And then a year later, I'd been proved right about everything. My basic point was this: if where this community, where it used to be 5 years ago, was incredible, right? It was the absolute expression of what the Old Testament says God wants out of Jews, which is we had all different types of people living here with all different types of religious practice, and they all felt equal. We all felt part of the community, right? And this guy's hatred of one another, right? Which he had a lot of people, he had not a lot. He had a good few people in the community who were happy to talk crap and bully along with him, right? But like my community accepted it. I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so a year later, I've been proved right 9 ways to Sunday. The synagogue was going to have to close because about 30% of people were leaving, right? Minimally 30%, right? And that was at the beginning, right? I think once we had a building up and running, it would have just destroyed it, right? It was going to happen. So at this point, some of the Normans got involved. And they got themselves on the board of the shore of the synagogue who run the synagogue to see if they could do anything other than you couldn't fire this guy because his friend who he supported had financially benefited him by giving this contract where he can never be fired. Anyway, so it just got worse and worse and worse, right? It just got worse and worse. So, by this point, I then communicated to the people around the show, look, here, we have a problem. Like now, because again, here's the thing. I think Jewish law is important. I didn't know I was the only one, but apparently I was. That, we have this Jewish law that if somebody is disgusted, but if a significant part of the community is disgusted with the person, you can't give them honors in short. And man, they do anything for honors. Oh my God. So crazy, right? So I said, listen, could you please go to a relevant Jewish legal authority to look at this Jewish law and find a reason why it wouldn't apply. Right. And of course, they never did that. So a few weeks later, he got himself up to give himself some honors. And I very quietly said, look, the law is not like this. You can't do this. I'm sorry. And he walked back to me. He lied his ass off about that, just relentlessly. He said, I attacked him, or I tried to attack him. I beat him with like holy books or something. I don't know. He just lied and lied and lied and lied. And again, all this is in direct contradiction of Jewish law, right? So here's the thing I found totally chilling. People are kind of like shrugged at that point and said, okay, his contract's not being renewed. Who cares? He was trying to gain sympathy. He was cry-bullying again so he could get his contract back. But didn't happen. He's still unemployed now, unemployable. But his violation of Jewish law got more and more profound with this area specifically. So the main day of the year where we mourn, like being in exile, right? So we started being, and why are we in exile? Because we talk shit about each other. The main day of this year where we don't eat for 25 hours and we sit on the ground and we cry, and I'm not exaggerating, right? He gives this address to the synagogue to different groups for like 2.5 hours, just taking a piss all over the laws of this thing, Lashon Hara and Rechila, just lying to do it as well. But do you want to know how strong these laws of like not talking crap about each other? You're not allowed to defame each other even if you're telling the truth. How much more so when you're lying? So during this, right, he got the board to send out a WhatsApp with a fraudulent account of what happened, right? So after he left, I asked him to, look, you've broken this Jewish law. Look, I said I would apologize when I didn't think I had, but, I wanted to smooth things over. Now you absolutely, definitely, 100% have broken this law. You don't have any leg to stand on in Jewish law whatsoever, right? Could you please retract it? You don't even need to mention my name. Just retract it, saying this report wasn't. They refused, right? They absolutely refused. And the reason they refused was for a couple of reasons. It was ostensibly they didn't want to upset the supporters of this rabbi, but more, the normies had basically had his back right up until they stopped having his back after that speech he gave, but not because it broke Jewish law, because he insulted them personally, and so they were all pissed off. So I said, but you violated this law. Literally, no one could care. When I say no one cared, right? They didn't even think these laws, which is central, which is actually the fundamental central part of being, I would say, any moral system, right? Was to just ignore it and pretend it never happened. I'm like, excuse me, our religion. This is what desecration actually means. Like the Torah, we call it. Our religion has been desecrated. Right, for you to say nothing about it is saying it was okay, saying it doesn't. And that's what they stuck with. And I spent the next 2.5 years saying, listen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think God is real. I think God runs the universe, and I think the example I normally give is if you're standing by the Titanic when it leaves, and the captain says, "God Himself cannot sink this ship." Get off the damn ship, right? You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know April 14th is going to hit an iceberg at incredibly high speeds, right? Which is strange. Which is like a very strangely designed iceberg that will puncture, 4 or 5 of the watertight compartments, which is basically impossible. The chance of that happening very, very low. You don't know that's going to happen, but something's going to happen. I think And so I've been screaming for like 2.5 years, and I basically, by about 3 weeks before October 7th, has given up. I said, look, no one's going to listen anyway, and probably I'm wrong, right? Probably nothing's going to happen. Maybe in the next world, right? But probably nothing's going to happen, right? And I said there's a few more instances of the supporters of this piece of shit rabbi. Just completely not. Again, when I say they know about the laws and they don't care, they don't even care to know. They know. It's like it doesn't exist to them. It's the weirdest things, right? I'll give you another example, then we can move on. But like the Okay. So at the beginning when I said I'll apologize, right? They said, "Yes, see, you have broken the Jewish law, the biblical law of mocking our rabbi," right? Which I really haven't, right? I think if I mock you, we're all gonna know about it, right? I don't think anybody's gonna be like, "Oh," but it was basically just one little prick who was looking to get revenge, which is also a violation of Jewish law. But anyway, I don't. So then, right at the same time, I found out about a month later, there was a picture of me with the guy who the rabbi was protecting. We were friendly. I had no beef with him at all, right? And looking happy with each other. And that was going around with the message that, "You see this man? How can he be allowed to do anything in the synagogue when he associates with scum like Lebetkin?" And again, a textbook case of violating Jewish law. So when they said, "Tzvi, you've broken this Jewish law, you must apologize," they all at the same time, when I handed them, they all at the same time actually did break that same Jewish law, and they couldn't have given two shits. They just couldn't have given two shits, right? Which is surprising because they turned out to be completely full of shit. But the problem is this. That all the normies, right? The vast majority of the community, basically me, there's one other guy who I have some respect for. When they were all okay with that, I lost complete respect for everyone. I was like disgusted with all of them. I was like, what the, like, what? What are you doing? Like, what? Like, why'd you bother going to synagogue and flapping your lips, in prayer? What's the point of it? Right? And the thing is, they grew up just doing stuff. And one of the things you grew up doing is don't argue with the rabbi, right? But I think God's more important than the rabbi. But again, it wasn't like I'm speaking to one of them said, "Aren't you scared?" And he looked at me and said, "We do not have a problem with lashon hora in this community." What are you talking about? The rabbi just took a shit on it from the fucking community. Yes, you do have. No, actually, truth is, you don't have any bloody problem with it. Yeah, and I don't think my community is unusually bad. I think it's quite good. I think people here are generally speaking quite decent. But again, it wasn't a blip on a blip on a blip to keep these laws of not talking crap about each other. And in fact, even to this day, right, there's this really bizarre cognitive dissonance where I say, "Oh yeah, the rabbi we call it Russia, is an evil person, right? The ex-rabbi is a Russian." Like, what? I said, "Well, he broke all these laws." I said, what do you mean? So I say, "Did he do this, and this?" "Oh yeah, that what happened. Was the law this, and this?" And they know it. They go, "Oh yeah. So did he do it?" And they look at you. You know what it's like? You've seen Westworld. Freaking love Westworld. I absolutely love Westworld. Well, when you ever have a robot in Westworld and he looks at something that he's not programmed to see, he doesn't see anything at all. They go, I don't see anything at all. That's what the look in their eyes is. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? So that's basically where I lost really all respect for basically everybody living around me, right? As it was awful. It still is awful, right? I used to love living it. I used to absolutely love it. But the truth is, I don't think we're different from most places. I just think most places in Israel, and most Jews, don't have a conception of not talking shit about each other, which I think is the exact reason why we live in this exile, what we call galus, right? And I think that's why that was the engine used to bring this terrible, awful punishment upon us, which it was of October 7th. And the truth is, nobody even thinks about it now. Nobody puts it together in their little heads now. Yeah, it's insane to me, right? Because what October 7th has done and the ensuing war, it's woken up like the liberal left-wing Jews, right? Liberal left-wing Jews have finally realized that, oh yeah, Harvard doesn't like you, right? Academia doesn't like you, right? They've finally seen the double standard, and in a way they can't deny it. So they've been woken up, right? They have been 100% woken up by this. What it would take for religious Jews to be woken up, I don't even know. But one of the reasons why I have such little respect for rabbis now, we call it the Rabbanos, right? Why there's such a, because they all just looked at their toes and kept their idiot mouths shut, right? And I have to tell you again, we believe in the thing called meter connecting meter, like things equal each other. And I don't know what this incident I was talking about, what part it has to do in the terrible events of October 7th, right? I don't know what, like, when God's apportioning brain for this, and this, like, I don't know where it is, but I don't think it's nothing, right? I don't think it's nothing at all. And my thought is this: all these rabbis, again, this rabbi who said, "Oh, yeah, I think because the Hamas people pray so nicely," has actually written a book on this subject before, and he was best buddies with this idiot rabbi, right? And trouble is, they all got egg on their face, and they all know, and that's more important to them than anything else, not having egg on their face. So that's why I think October 7th happened. Now, where is this going to go from here? I don't know. There are so many different possibilities, right, of how this scenario plays out. There's one possibility, which is we all die for a few hours and then come back to life. Another possibility that Israel gets overrun with our enemies. Could happen. Could totally happen. That might wake people up. I don't bloody know. Right? I don't bloody know. But it's funny. Yeah, in synagogue now, right? At the end of morning services, they say two psalms. We call them Tehillim, to curry God's favor. I was like, maybe I don't know. We could just do what God says. But the truth is, it's easier to say these psalms than it is to actually introspect and be honest. Man, honestly, it's like kryptonite. It's unbelievable, right? It's unbelievable. You have that. That's a greater problem in the world, though. Like this delusion, which is the problem in Doctor Who. It's a problem in Star Wars. It's a problem in every facet of reality. We have delusion, and we have people who are raised in with this defamation. Like that's all they know. This rechila, right? And it's not doing good for us, right? It is not doing good for us at all. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.